Hi, my name's Neil Ball. I'm a Autodesk Advanced Steel Specialist. I work for Graitec UK. This webinar is advertised as architectural stairs. I'm not here to show you how to draw stairs. By the time you get to this point, you probably know how to do that. But what I'm going to do is show you some special techniques that you can use to create your own stringers, glass panels, glass treads, that sort of thing. So I'm going to start with a basic stair. So here it is. I've done a layout. You could do the maths if you like, and you could work out the geometry of the stair, but it's normally going to come from a site survey or something like that. There's nothing wrong with drawing some lines, some construction lines. I put these on a separate layer so I can turn them on and off. The thing about drawing stairs is we want to be in World UCS to start. Extended modeling, and I'm going to select the straight stair tool. It's asking for a method of calculating the stair, either start and end point, length and angle, height and angle. I'm going to use the default because I've got some construction here. So I'm just going to hit enter. It's asking for the first point. We always start the stair at the bottom, so we're going to select end point there. And we're going to select the top of the stair here. So this is top of the flight, not the back of the landing, but the top of the flight geometry. So I'm going to hit end point and I'm going to select that. We now get the option for alignment of the stair, left, middle or right. Middle is default, so I'm just going to enter. Just let the computer catch up a minute. And here it is, here's our stair. A bit industrial from the look of that, so we're gonna make it a little bit tidier. So this is the default stair. You'll be familiar with this. It takes a default from the library. And I'm going to make some changes. Now, as we look down the stair, you'll quite often notice that the width of the stair is greyed out. There's one thing that controls that, and I'll come to that in a minute and show you that. So let's have a look at step general. It's calculated using the formula 2R plus G that we're familiar with. Of course, we can override that, so we can untick the box. We can change the number of steps. If you wanted these to be exact, you'd have to work out the geometry for that to work. If, for instance, I said I wanted a going of 195, it won't necessarily be able to work it out according to the geometry. So you could probably get close unless you worked out the exact geometry. We're going to use 2R plus G. Tread type. Now I'm just going to jump ahead a little bit. I'm going to look at this tread dimensions here. And you'll notice that the grating for the tread is a standard grating. And we all know that this comes in 6x1 sheets. Because this comes in 6x1 sheets and it's a standard grating, that's what restricts the stair to 1 meter wide. Somebody thought that because the panel's 1 meter wide, the tread must therefore be 1 meter wide. Doesn't follow, because obviously the load bars go a different way. If I change this to a variable grating, and I chose, let's have a look, let's just do a Redmond Fisher variable grating, 30 by 5. Something along those lines, 41 by 100, 30 by 5. I'm going to do a tread width of 282. One of my suppliers used to do 282, so I'm familiar with that dimension. So let's go back again now. Let's have a look at the stringer. There we are. Look, all of a sudden we can change the width of the stringer. Because we've got a variable grating, I can do the width of the stair, whatever I like. However, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do, we're going to use tread type 2. So there's tread type 2. Okay. And what I'm going to do, instead of a standard grating, I'm going to use a variable grating. And it just so happens that if I go to the bottom of this, I've got some window glass. And what I've done, I've added a particular glass panel to the window glass library. I'll show you how I did that in a minute. That's the point of this exercise, is I'm going to show you how I've set this up. So I've used 50mm thick glass. Here it is. And I'm going to do a tread width of 282 again. And I'm going to go to the stringer here, distance, and I'm going to put in a distance of 1142. I'll show you why I've done that in a minute. The stringer itself, instead of parallel flange channel, what I can do I can create a user section, and I can use the user section as the stair stringer. So if I go to all sections here and I scroll down, this is derived from a company. I did a demonstration, PMG they were called, and they had a particular section that they used for their stairs, and it was this one here, 270 by 41 glass panel. I'll show you that in a minute. I'm going to go to realistic view, and of course the landing, this isn't part of the stringer, this is the landing in the system. I can also change this, so I'm going to go to all again, and I'm going to find the PMG glass channel. There it is, and I'm going to change this. This is some other parts, I'll explain this in a while. So there we have it. And the top landing, because of the geometry, I know is 300 by 300. Okay, so this is the basis of the stair. Let me just go into realistic view, and you'll see that this is actually a channel. There it is, look. This is a glass tread, but it's not set out exactly right. I need to go and make some more changes. The first thing you'll notice, I've got grating for the landing cover, so I'm going to change that, and I'm going to go to landing, top cover, it says grating, I'm going to say none, and if I go up one step here, I can create last tread, be the same as the others. There it is. And what I want to do, I want to offset the landing by 30 mil. That'll bring it up to the level here, to this level, and I'll show you why I did that. The other thing I want to do, I want to go to the stringer here, and I'm going to do an offset of 30 mil there, and on the step, tread type, offset by stair width, beg your pardon, it's going to be 30 mil as well. So here we are, look. The treads are offset by 30, 30, 30. That's about it for the stairs, other than we need to support the stair treads. And for that, my customer had his own section made up. And if I go here, here it is. And what it is basically is some rubber packing, some flat sections welded. They're actually bolted. They've got bolts along here, but I've not shown those, but I could show those. But you'll notice this is all in one piece. The reason it's in one piece is because I created it using a compound beam. And if I go to sections, you can see from this, section 1 is this piece here. And it's a 56 by 8 flat. This is a special, but I've added it to the flat library in Advanced Steel. There's no point in making a user section, I just added it to flat. I've said special, and that tells me that it's a non-standard component. If I go down to 2, here's number 2, this is an 80 by 8 flat, standard piece. Flat again. 4 is this packing piece, is a 20 by 8 flat, so a standard flat. 5 is a 50 by 3 flat, and if I were to double click on it, I've set the material to rubber, and again 6 is a rubber strip as well. It's this one here. Okay, so this is a compound beam, easy to create. Go to my objects ribbon here. This is one I've created for a handrail section. We're going to use that a bit later on. But all I need to do to change this, I can change each section. I can delete sections, so I can come to number 2 and delete. I can start with just one section, and I can select it from the list of all sections, and I can create a compound beam. Easy to do, give it a go. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to copy it to the clipboard. Copy with base point, and I've already set the base point here, so it's 0, 0. I can go back to my staircase, here it is, and I can paste this, Control V, and I'm going to put it at the node on the stair tread. So that's positioned. As easy as that. People think because you're bringing it in from another model it needs to come in as an advanced special part. Here it's not the case. it's an advanced object, so I can just copy and paste it straight in. If I number it, it'll be numbered in here, exactly the same as any other advanced steel object. I'm going to weld these together, and I'm going to weld it at this endpoint here for no other reason than I can see it. And I'm going to copy this now up 11 treads, and to do that I'm going to use transform elements. I'm going to select copy. It's going to be 11 copies. I'm going to select the objects to copy. I can select the whole compound beam as one piece, and I'm also going to select the weld, and I'm going to right click. Obviously I don't know this dimension from this point to this point, so I'm going to use the button here, and I'm going to select this point on the stairs and the corresponding point on this tread, and I'm going to go OK, and there it is. I'm going to mirror this, so I'm just going to mirror the one. This is the advanced mirror tool. I'm going to mirror this and the weld. See if I can get that. There it is. I think I got it. Yes. Definitely have now. Okay, I'm going to mirror this. I can go from the midpoint here, straight out, right click, there it is. And again, transform elements, select the objects, 1, 2, and I'm going to copy that from here to here again. Just let it catch up. There it is. So this is my glass stair. This is all ready for glass panels. I've got the glass treads. I'm going to turn this into glass in a little while. If I look at the material here, I've called it other glass. I've called that, when I created this, I called it glass in the database. If I'd not, I could untick this, and I can set that. If it's to any other material, I could set that manually. Alright, so you'll notice I've got no joint boxes. Is that because I've got the joint boxes turned off? I'm going to unfreeze those a minute. I want this joint box because I'm going to copy the stair. And I'm going to copy the stairs like this. We've got all these components joined on here. And if I just copy the stair, I'd leave these behind. The treads will go, the stringers will go, everything else will go, except the crucial bits that I want. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy, but first of all, I'm going to select all these components. I'm going to do that like that. Use this, and it says display objects connected in the shop. And if I select the stringer, you see the whole thing is then selected. I'm going to mark those, and I'm going to select the joint box as well, and I'm going to copy this. One copy, of course, we don't want 11 stairs. I've selected the objects, here they are, and I'm going to copy from this endpoint here to this endpoint here. And I'm going to say OK. Just let that do its stuff a minute. There's the copy. And I need to rotate this because I want it to join here. So again, I'm going to select the marked objects. I'm going to select the joint box, and I'm going to use transform elements. Here we are. But this time it's going to be a rotate. Let's delete the source object. Select the rotation point, which is going to be at this point here. The angle of rotation is going to be 180 degrees, and I'm going to select OK. And that's going to rotate. Took a minute there, there's a lot of objects there to rotate. What I need to do, I need to finish this landing, the bottom landing. Well, all I need to do for that is to go into the stair macro. advanced joint properties, and I go to the landing, and I go to bottom landing, and I'd enable this. Just for speed, what I've done, I've already done that, and I've saved it in the library. Stair, glass stair upper, and what it's done, you'll notice it's added the landing, it's put the bottom tread in. The only thing I need to do is copy down these components. So let's just do that quickly. I'm just going to use the copy command here. This is the advanced copy command. This is not the AutoCAD copy command. I would say when I'm training people that if I need to copy a dumb beam, that's a beam without any features on it. If I wanted to copy a dumb beam, I would use the AutoCAD dumb copy. Once I've got advanced steel objects, I always use the advanced copy and the advanced mirror, of course. Okay, so there's my landings, my stairs, beg your pardon. Next thing I'm going to do is the landing, and I can do this. This is lines. I can do beam from line. This one here. It says delete the selected objects. That's basically asking me if it wants to delete the construction lines. I'm going to say no, we'll leave them there. Give me a point of reference, and it's put some I-beams in. The reason it's used I-beams, it was the last section I used, just remembered that. So I need to change the material. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to other profiles, and I'm going to go all, and I'm going to look for my PMG glass rail, the same as we used for this. And I'm going to set that, and I'm just going to go and have a look at the alignment of this, and I'm going to change the position to top inside there. So you can see that's lined up. Again, this is lined up. Now this is not actually a glass rail here. This is a piece of channel that joins it all together. So I've got somewhere to bolt my stairs. So what I did, I just did beam at line, and I changed it all to the glass panel. What I can do now, I can go into the properties of this one, and I can change this to channel, and I'm going to use parallel flange channel, and I'm going to use a 150 by 75. There it is. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to invert this, so I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to realign it. Now, 4 choices here. However I do it, I can never get it first time. So if you can, you're a better man than me. And I'm going to move this down. I'm going to move this dumb beam, dumb move. And I'm going to go from this end point to this end point here. Okay, so there it is. I need to do some trimming here. And what we do for that, we go into objects, split beams, and I'm going to split this one at this point here. And I can delete this section of railing, of rail. And again, I'm going to split this one again, and I'm going to split it at this point here. Get rid of that piece. I can select it. If you can't select it, go into 2D wireframe. There it is, look. You can select through then. So there's my first landing. I'm going to mitre this. So I've got a mitre tool here. So this is all basic stuff that I'm doing. What I'm going to do in a minute, once I've done this, I'm going to weld this, look. I'm going to cut and weld that. And this one here. I'm also going to mitre this one. Mitre there. And I'm going to create a weld for that. And the other thing I need to weld is these joints here. So this is a straightforward weld. Select the 2 objects, weld point there. And I'm going to do the same on this side. So I'm going to weld this and this, and I'm going to weld it there. Let's have a look, see how we're getting on. And realistic. Okay, so we're getting there. So here are my 2 stair flights. I've got a landing I'm going to put glass covering on the landing in a minute. Let's just address this. I've got some special joints for this. Some people don't even find these, but here it is. Look, stair anchor angle. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to set my UCS and I'm going to put it at the end of my stringer there. I could set a reference, but I'm not going to. I'll just move the UCS. It says, do you want to select a reference point? I'm going to say no. And I've got a joint in. Pretty good joint. That wasn't just by chance. What I've done, I've created the joint in the past and I've gone to my library and I've saved it into my library. You just import the values for the joint. It won't give it a name, so you go into edit, and once I'm in edit I can give it a meaningful name. Spelled stair wrong there, but never mind. Okay. I can now copy this just like any other joint, so I'm going to copy this joint here to this. Do I want to select a reference point? I'm going to say no. There's my joint. You notice on the other side, same side as this one. So we need to go into there. We're going to go to the angle. It says single right. I'm going to change that to single left. So there's the joint. Quite a simple joint. Welded angle. Bolt down through. 2 Hilti fixings there. Alright, let's sort out the glass panel here. So what I'm going to do, knowing that I need to have my UCS at the insertion point or the height for the glass, let me just rotate this a minute. That's not critical, but nice. I'm going to put my glass from there. I'm going to bring it out here. And it's going to be 50 mil thick. Okay, phase 1. You'll notice same thickness now as the tread. But it says still. To make this a glass panel, all I need to do is go to Other and select glass. If you had a particular kind of glass, you may have saved it in here. You can do this from the management tools. Just let this load. And I can go to Object Property Manager, Editor, beg your pardon, and Material, and I can copy one of these and I can put it in as glass. What I would do is probably start with glass because some of the settings may already be in there. So glass. Okay, so it's got a density and it says it's glass. So if you do this, you know, you might want to copy the density and then click apply. That'll be available. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to reduce the width of this and I'm going to go to this point here and I'm going to select that again because I know for my glass clamps I need a 30 mm offset, so I'm going to offset that by 30. And again in this plane I'm going to grab that and I'm going to drag it in and I'm going to use this internal point here, so I'm going to select endpoint. There it is. And I'm going to grab this again and I'm going to drag that in 30 mm. So that's all ready for the clamps. The other thing I need to do, I need to cut my stair out around here. And to do that, I'm just going to use a one of the features here. I can use this one, a contour there, or I can use this one in plates, this one here, doesn't matter either one. And I'm going to cut it from knowing that this point here is the 30 mm offset for the glass, and I'm going to cut it to this point here. There it is. Cut out. I might just move this back a little bit, I can do that. Let's go to 2D wireframe so I can see what I'm doing. Here's the contour. Here's the end of the contour. I'm going to bring it out to the end of the glass panel here. Okay, so that clears this. Got a bit of a gap there, we could address that, but I'm not too worried about that. What I'm going to do, look, I'm going to grab this now, and I'm going to go to 2D wireframe to do this. So I'm going to grab this. This is my compound beam. I'm just going to drag it out here somewhere. There it is. And again, this one, the compound beam here, this is it. You'll get used to this. Working in 3D, you'll get used to which lines are which. Doesn't take long. So what I've done, I've dragged this out. But I need to trim this, and I'm going to trim it. We've used this before. Split beam. And I'm going to split it at this point here. I'm going to leave this a second, because we're going to do something with that. This one here again, I'm going to split this beam. I'm going to split it at this end point here. Don't need this bit, we're going to delete that. But this bit, I'm going to rotate this. I'm going to use the standard rotate command. And I'm going to rotate it from this end point here. And I'm going to rotate that to this point. I'm going to drag this by. I'm going to split the beam. No measuring involved, look. I just know where it has to go. There it is. We're going to delete that. Here's my compound beam. I need to weld that on. So I'm going to weld here to here, and I might go to midpoint somewhere in there. I don't think that's quite on it. There it is, look. So midpoint there. I'm going to weld this one. So I'm going to weld there to there, and I'm going to go midpoint here. I think it's maybe up this end a little bit. Could be here. There it is. And I'm going to weld this one here to here, and again midpoint. Going to be in here somewhere. That'll do. That's it. I'm going to do a bit of mitering, so I'm going to miter this corner. Notice I've left a 2mm gap. If I go here, 2mm cut. Because what I did, I saved this miter in the library. Here it is. And it recognizes these sections. And it leaves the gap. So again, I'm going to miter this one to this one. There's my gap. The only other thing I need to do, I'm going to split this. And notice when I split this, I can put a gap. So I'm going to also leave a 2mm gap there. And I'm going to split it at this point. So there it is, split. And again, I'm going to split this one at this point, 2mm gap. That's it. Okay. Let me just extend this through. I'm going to extend that to this endpoint here, 300. Okay. So that's done. Glass, 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 glass. Now, let me save this. And I'm going to go here, and I'm just going to turn off the joint boxes. Gone. When it comes to the glass panels, a couple of ways to do this. The easiest way is to draw some construction lines in this case. What I'm going to do, I've actually got some glass. Here we are, upper glass. But I've actually got some glass construction. Here it is. Okay. So what I've done basically, I've taken a line from center inside my glass channel. I've taken some lines here. I've given it the necessary offset. So it's 1130 as it happens here. And obviously it's a little bit less on the stairs. And I put some glass panels in. I say glass panels, the outline for the glass panels. Now if I select these, okay, that's it. All we're going to do, we're going to use beam at polyline. There it is. 50mm is going to be a bit serious, so we're going to make that 12mm. glass, other, because it remembered it from the panel there. The position of it, I'm going to put it on the main line, center line of the glass panels. So there they are. Take you a couple of minutes to create these construction lines, but it's by far the most accurate way of doing that. There's some tools coming to you from Graitec via the Power Pack, which you can buy in the Autodesk App Store. And they've got a rather useful tool here, which is glass data. Unfortunately, in this case, you need to have the glass enclosed on 4 sides by sections, and then you can define the glass panel. So if it's 2 or 3 layers of glass, laminated glass, you can define that, and then you can insert the glass. Unfortunately, no good to us in this instance because we've got freestanding glass panels. But bear that in mind. That's the Graitec Power Pack, available App Store, Autodesk App Store. Alright, so that's our glass in. The last thing I need to do, I'm going to put some hand railing on here. Notice I haven't done all this. Time constraints wouldn't allow me to do the whole thing. I could copy it up and rotate, copy and rotate, and all that sort of thing. So I could do that. In this case, I've already created this and I've got it hidden on hidden layers. So we'll turn that on in a bit and you can see what I've done there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the handrail. And as I said to you, what I did earlier is I created the handrail as a compound section. And you're going to think, well, hang on a minute. It may well be a compound section, but I don't remember seeing any of this in the system. You're right. You haven't seen any of that in the system. I created that from a user section. So what we're going to do in a minute, the whole point of this exercise isn't to show you how to draw a stair. It's to show you that I've used non-standard sections. I've used panels, which I'm going to simulate glass, and I've used these special user sections, and these are from the nice people at Q Railing, popular supplier, especially in the UK, and they're quite accommodating, these people. You know, if you need content, you can ring them up. If they haven't got it on their website, quite often they can supply you with content. In this case, for the profiles for the hand railing, they did have it on their website. So let me just finish this a minute. And I'm going to go midpoint here to midpoint here. So you'll notice, because I've made this compound beam, I'm putting both of the sections on at the same time. So I'm putting the rubber insert and I'm also putting the handrail on at the same time. Saves a lot of time. So there it is. There's our stair finished. But you're all saying, well, you didn't tell us the whole truth because it's not glass. Well, what we can do, because this is an AutoCAD based product, it runs on AutoCAD, we can use some of the AutoCAD features, and one of them is material. What I can do, I've enabled material here. I'm going to use clear. So I'm going to select similar, again AutoCAD, and I'm going to click on glass, and you'll notice these are now glass panels. I'm also going to click on these flat panels, plates. I've selected similar, and I'm going to click on glass. So there's my glass stair. Okay, let me turn the rest on so you can just see it, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you how to make some of these components for the last 20 minutes or so. So I've got joint boxes off. Here we are, look, I've got upper landings. So some freeze those. Show those upper landings, exactly the same as this one. A little bit different just on this top there. And I'm going to put upper glass on. So there's the upper glass. I'm going to put the upper stairs on, and I'm going to put the upper handrail. Okay, but the process was exactly the same. I could take this and I could copy it and I could rotate it and copy and rotate. I've taken some glass panels there. Look, this would be the step offs to the doors, and this is what we got. So it's quite effective. I haven't put any joints in between the rail here. I have in the top section. Look, I didn't put them in the bottom section, but you can see that. There's actually tools for that. And I can't remember, I probably used this one, stair angle at the top. And I used those up in here, wherever it is, lost it. Okay, so that'll do. So how did I get there? Let's have a look at how we got there. I'm going to just rotate this a minute. Oh, sorry, I'm pressing the wrong button. Southwest side symmetric. Okay, there. Just save that. Let's first have a look at the stair stringer. And for this example, what I'm going to do, I went to the Q Railing website and they've got some layout drawings here. And you can see I've got a rubber seal in there. Let's get rid of some of this. So you can see, so I've got rubber seal. I've got an insert. I've got some rubber wedges to maintain the glass. And at the top I've got some handrail. You'll see that, you'll recognize that, we just used it. So I can take some of this away just to give me better access, and I can copy all these parts. And I can copy this glass channel, and here it is over here. So I've just dragged it across. This is the insert. I'm not going to deal with that today, but you'll notice on the glass channel I've also got this simplified version. You know that when we're in advanced steel and we draw a beam, thus we have the standard display type here, and if I zoom in and I select exact with edges, you'll see I've got all the radius on the beam. That's exactly the same with my user section. If I go to my user section here, this will be the standard display. In fact, I didn't even need these bits in here. I could have deleted those as well. And this is the exact with edges. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy these to the clipboard. And the base point, it doesn't really matter to me where the base point is. I'm going to go in to this file here. And this file is called Q Railings. And you can see I've already created some user sections. This is the top handrail section. And this is the rubber insert for the handrail. Once I've created these, and I've committed these to the system by pressing one of these, generate all sections, I don't necessarily need this drawing afterwards. If I delete the drawings, it doesn't delete the special part. But of course, if I've got this, I can use this as a library, and I can add components to the Q Railing library. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to paste our components. There they are. And to save some work, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy it from there to here. And I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to move that, and I'm going to put it in the middle here. And I'm going to call it, this is the name of the rail, so instead of cap rail seal, this is going to be called Easy Glass Pro. So I'm going to change this, beg your pardon, let's do that again. Here we go. Easy Glass Pro. Okay, stage 1. Just move this across. That's just me being a bloke. Now, all of these have to go on their respective layers, and I'll show you that. To activate the layer, we can press frame here. And what it will do to our standard layers, so our layers, advanced steel layers, it will add these, starting hype, 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 hype. In other countries, these layers might be called something slightly different, but they do the same job. And you'll notice, if I click on this surround, it's on the hype frame layer. The hype frame layer confines the geometry of the special part. The system knows anything within that box is a special part. This layer, hype type name. This would be the type, as in it might be rectangular hollow section or square hollow section or whatever. Okay, this is the type, the section type. It's in the Q Railing library, so everything in here is Q Railing. This layer is the hype section name. This would be, for instance, your 50/50 by 3. So square hollow section, 50/50 by 3. So this is the size of the section, effectively. This is how it's catalogued. Now, let's get to this. This is the exact section. So if I look in here, my drop-down list, I've got hype, exact, outer section. And each of these have to be a polyline. So the outer section is this one here, and it's the exact outer section, so it's hype, exact, outer section. I put it on that layer. You can see the colours changed to grey. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to select all of these internal parts. Each one of those again is a polyline, and this is exact inner section, and you can see if I click on that, exact inner section. Now these, the outer profile here, this is the hype outer section. This is the standard outer section, hype outer section. And these two polylines are the inner section. Like I said, I don't necessarily need those. I could delete them, but I'm going to leave them on. Hype inner section. Okay? And I'm going to move this, and I'm going to move it, and I'm going to be accurate with this. So I'm going to go to midpoint there. And I'm going to overlay it here, so I'm going to select a midpoint here. That's the next phase. Now you'll notice these little glyph things on here, look, these little shapes. What these represent are the 9 points of positioning on a beam. So if I draw a beam here, you notice on the positioning I've got 9 points for positioning of the system line. Plus I've got this one here, which is centre of gravity. The system calculates that for you. You don't need to put a glyph in for that. Okay, so let's get rid of those. So how we put those in, I'm going to change the layer I'm on, and the layer is going to be the hype ref axis. And what I'm going to do before I start that, I'm going to draw some lines. And all these are construction lines. And the reason I'm putting them on, it's going to be pretty difficult to find that midpoint without one. And again, I'm going to go from this endpoint here. Notice I've got this diagonal line, and I'm going to go to this endpoint here. These are going to be deleted afterwards, but they're just reference construction lines for now. Let's go back to extended modeling. And here we are. 1, 2, 3, if you count them, there's 9 of those. And each one references one of the points, the 9 points. So this is top left. And I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to shift right click, and I'm going to select endpoint. It's upside down here. It might be at a funny angle, it might be bigger than the others. I used to spend a lot of time trying to make them all the same and the right way up, and nobody actually told me that it didn't really matter. So I'm going to save you a lot of time. It doesn't matter. Okay, and I'm going to go to endpoint here. Watch this one. They all look bigger, funny angle, all that stuff. Doesn't make any difference. So this is middle left, midpoint there. I've got a center one here. I'll come back to that in a minute. I'm going to go middle right, and I'm going to go endpoint there. Sorry, beg your pardon, I'm not going to go endpoint at all. I'm going to go midpoint there. I've got bottom left here, so we'll do that one. Endpoint there. Midpoint, bottom, and I'm going to go midpoint there. And the last one on the bottom is bottom right. You don't need to put all of these on. You don't need to put them all on. If the shape doesn't call for all of them, so look at this one. I'd have a job to get 9 on there, so I've not put 9 on. This one here, I only need 1, because I'm going to use this for my reference point for insertion point. So I put it here. So we've got to decide, I've got the last one to do, and that's this center point. Would it do me any good to have it here? Could I use it for anything? Probably not. But it might be a good idea to have that one at this point, because I can use that for alignment. Doesn't make any difference, but I can't have two. I couldn't have a center one there and a center one there. I can only have one of each, and I decide where it's going to go. So I decide it's going to go there. I'm just going to use select similar for the construction lines. I'm going to delete those. Layers, I'm going to go back to standard layer. We know when we're working in advanced deal, pretty much we're in standard layer all the time. Now there's only one last step. If I go to extended modeling and I go back to user sections, I've got this one here, add coordinates. When I select a beam and I choose UCS object, there are certain edges that I can select for that. And how that's determined is by these add coordinates symbols. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to put one there for that edge. Possibly don't need one for this edge. I'm never quite sure how many you should put on, but I think more the merrier. It's probably not going to hurt. So I'm going to put them on all these edges, internal there, external there, and I'm going to put one or two, put one there. Probably don't need one here as well, but I'll put one there. As I said, I don't think it hurts. So there it is. Okay. Now, if I've not created all of these, I'd hit this one. And this one says Q Railing Section Easy Glass Pro successfully created. This is this one. It's going to do the cap rail again because I selected all, and it's going to do this end here. That's this one I selected. Generate all sections. If I just wanted to do the one, I could have selected this one and I'd select the red box and it would have just done this one. As I said now, this is redundant. I could delete this if I wanted to, wouldn't make any difference to the system. That section has still been created, still be available whether this drawing existed or not. But of course it makes sense to keep it, because if I wanted to add other Q railing components, I could use this drawing again and I could make a complete library of Q railing glass rail sections, handrail sections, all that sort of thing. Could have split them out. I could have had one for glass channel and I could have had one for hand railing, so it could have been Q railing hand railings, Q railing sections. But in any case, there it is. That's how you do that. That's a user section. Now, I'm going to say yes to save that. I'm going to keep that. I've finished with this drawing. Let's close that one. We're going to finish with this one. I'm going to close that one. Now, if I were to draw, sorry, let's go to other sections a minute. I'm going to draw this. This is the one we were using earlier, PMG glass rail. If I go into Q railing and the drop down, here it is, look, Easy Glass Pro. There's the easy user standard section, display type, exact with edges, there it is. So we know that works. However, when it comes to, you need to enable that section in management tools to be able to use it. So I need to do some changes. I need to make some changes in the table in management tools. So if I go here and I go to table editor and I enable this. Okay. If I go to Asta rules, there's a table in here. It's a special table. Let me just find it in a minute. And it is called GUI. Here we are. Joints, GUI, allowed sections. And if I click on this, railing new post, railing new kick rail, railing new top handrail, blah blah blah. Let's scroll down a bit. Let's find some stair entries. Stair. Here we are, look. Stair stringer. Section shape. C section. U section is channel, so that's allowed. Nothing for I section, so I could add I section if I wanted. The other thing I can do, I can use a user defined shape for the stringer. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to just shoot down to the bottom here. So I've already entered this. And what I would do, I would give it a key. This has to be a unique number. I then have to call up the joint name, and we know it was stair. The joint control was stringer. You can look for another one and you can find these settings, stringer. And instead of the section shape, in this case, because it's going to be a user section, we call it section class. So in the drop down here, section shape, section class. And this name here, you'll notice Q railing is the name of the library I created. And the USR says that it's a user section. So I create a new entry here. I go 5 blah 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 05 stair, type that in, stringer, type it in, drop down, section class, and then the name of my library with the prefix USR for user. When I've done that, I can close this. I can update defaults. And if I go into my stair now, okay, here it is. I can go to stringer. Instead of PMG glass, I can look for Q railing. It's going to do something funny because I've got cat rails selected. There it is, look, it's turned into a cat rail. But I can find here Easy Glass Pro. And it'll use the Easy Glass Pro channel. Obviously this is the standard display type, but we could change that to exact with edges. So it's easy as that. That's how we create a user section. That's how we use a user section. If you contact support at graitec.co.uk, we've got an FAQ telling you exactly how to do that. Let me put this back to what it should be. Just a minute. There we go. I can close that. The other thing I did was I created this glass tread. And what I did, I could have created a complete new library for this, but I didn't bother creating a library because it was only one section. And I added it to an existing table. So if I go into table editor, I'll show you where I added it. Because it came under gratings, it's in Aster grating. And I'm going to search for glass. So here it is, glass variable. And all I did, I added PMG 50 to here. So I said to you the material was set in the settings. Here it is, glass. I put the weight in. The owner text, I called it UK, so I could differentiate between Graitec entries, Autodesk entries, anybody else's entries. I put mine in there. Put the weight, glass, standard connectors, there's none because it's a glass panel. The hatch, AS glass, I could have used any hatch I like if I knew what the name of the hatch was. 50mm thick, this is the run name. This is what you see, 50 PMG 50 glass. And this name here is the name in the database. This must be a unique name, so I can't copy any of these down. It must be a unique name. And the separator is an underscore. That's just convention to do that in databases. It doesn't like it if you leave a space. I was going to add another one here called float glass. I've not got round to it yet, but that's going to go in there. Once I've done that, I can close it. I don't need to save databases. Databases update as you enter the information. So that's how I created the stringer. I had to go into the table to enable the stringer. To turn it into glass, I can't actually see glass. If I created the drawings for that, it would just show that as a plate, hidden detail behind it. What you can do, if you wanted to, I can go to a layout here, look, and if you knew anything about viewports, I can add viewports, I can add the different views in viewports, and I can create that. Nothing's stopping you doing that. So if I went in here, for instance, I would go from template. I can select one of my advanced steel, so let's use GAA2. That's this one. Okay, so there it is. So I go to my model, I create a view, I create a viewport. We call it a named viewport. I'm going to call it isometric. And I go OK. I'm going to go into here, viewport again. There's probably a shortcut key for that, but I'm advanced still, I'm not necessarily AutoCAD. Name viewport, here it is, isometric. I'm going to put it in here. There it is. And I can scale that if I click the outer viewport box. I can scale this. I don't know what it's going to be, 1 to 50 maybe. Okay. I can put the viewport on a viewport layer. So I can create a viewport layer. I've not got one, but I can create a new layer. I can hide the viewport. I can create another viewport. So if I wanted a front view of the model, again, front, left, right, whatever I want to do. Create a viewport. And we're going to, new one, I'm going to call this front view. And I'm going to go OK. I'm going to go here. So if you just wanted something to show an architect and you wanted to see all the glass effect and all that sort of thing, this is the way to do it. If I did an assembly drawing in advanced Stair, I wouldn't see all this detail. And again, let's put a viewport there. I'm going to click the outer. I'm going to change the scale, make it 1 to 50. Okay. And again, I can do different views. So that's it, guys. That is it. There's my glass stair. I've showed you how to create the glass treads, how to use parts, which I've created in a separate model, copy and paste those in. How to create stringers is use the sections. Hand railing, use the sections again. Bring it all together. I use materials, which gave me the glass effect on the panels. Let's turn off our construction lines. Let's turn off our glass construction lines. There's the finished item. Hope that's been informative. We're doing some more webinars later on architectural ironwork, some other subject matter as well, so keep a lookout for those. Hope you enjoy when we bring you these webinars. Hope they help you. Hope you get some ideas of usage over and above the standard Stair macro in this case. Thanks for your time, and that's it. Have a good day.